mission was to sabotage the rocket.
If something went wrong, Mason.
I can't get these fucking numbers out of my head.
How we doing, people? Andy B back here. Today's video, I'm just gonna try and reach into the whole writing and how can I put this, this sensitization of our auditory senses. I was actually playing a game last night called Call of Duty Black Ops, and the way the game starts is there's a Marine or a Black Ops soldier strapped down into a chair, and they're beaming him with all these different lights and sounds and words and feelings and electric shocks to send signals to his brain, to his auditory signals to fry his brain. Now, that is on a very extreme level. That's what happens in some government facility. But what they're doing to us out here, out in the public, out in the streets, out in civilization, they're doing it on a much weaker level. It's much softer, but they're still hitting us with lights and sounds and colors and electric shocks, electromagnetic frequencies, extremely low frequencies, dream manipulations to hack into your brain, dream intrusions, remote neural monitoring. Yep. This has turned a TI into somewhat of a very sensitive being to the environment. Our level of hearing has increased. Our level of scent has increased. Our eyesight has strengthened. Our sense of touch has become more sensitive. Now, they are just the ordinary senses which mankind is aware of. We have many, many other senses which we haven't been able to tap into, or we don't know exist, so we can't tap into. Now, by this program being run on us and pumping all this electricity through our brain through signals, it has awakened a dormant part of our brain which unlocks all these other senses. Some may call it the sixth sense, some may call it foresight, etc., etc., etc. You know where I'm going with this. So, could you imagine a soldier on the battlefront with heightened senses? I mean, the capabilities are unlimited for what that soldier can do in comparison to a normal civilian who is just walking around, deaf, dumb, and blind. And I think that's why they need to watch us, because they've unlocked something within our brain. The ones that haven't committed suicide, the ones that have persevered, the TIs that have persevered and pushed on through this torture, it strengthened our mind. And, some people understand the theory of evolution and natural selection. The only time an organism evolves is when it's put in an environment where it's forced to change its habits, its instincts, to adapt to that environment to continue to survive. And it adopts other attributes and skills and senses and instincts to survive in that new environment. And, you know, I do understand that human beings are the most versatile creatures on the planet. We can survive in any environment which has oxygen and water, regardless of its temperature. You know, if you look all over this planet, there are human beings everywhere. But that's not the same for all the animals and flora that we share this planet with. We are very robust, and I believe the ones at the top of the hierarchical chain of command, they understand this. They've many times they've experimented on human beings in facilities in the most disgusting of ways. I mean, may I remind people of Auschwitz? I can't even pronounce it properly, but you know where I'm going with this. That Heinrich Himmler, whatever his name is, done disgusting experiments on people. Joseph Stalin done disgusting experiments on people. They're all aiming towards creating a super soldier. I think the Nazis call it the Nazi Übermensch. And I believe they've succeeded in doing so. Because if you go look on the battlefront, you see what some of these soldiers are doing out on the battlefront. It's not human. It's not fucking human. I mean, I'm not an ISIS supporter in whatever way, but I've studied them and I've watched most of their videos, and they are not human the way they carry on fighting. It's not human to not duck from a bullet being shot at you. It's not human. Your human instinct is to protect yourself, not to stand in open barrage of bullets. They've unlocked something within the human brain. I mean, yeah, I understand there's conditioning and mind control, but this goes way beyond that. This is coupled with conditioning and brainwashing. But it's also unlocking hidden potential within the human mind. You see, in the very core of our brain, we have a reptilian brain. And on the outer part of that brain, we've got a less evolved mammalian brain, till we get to the outer layers of our brains and the frontal lobes, which make us human beings. See, I'm not too well read, I'm not too educated in this field, but it's what I know, and I've pieced together what I can piece together, and I'm sure level-headed people out there can sort of get the gist of what I'm trying to say. They've also done that to us TIs. They've unlocked hidden parts of our brain, and we are struggling to cope with it. That's why a lot of us end up in the nut house. You see, we do have a pineal gland. It is called the third eye. It's called the optic thalamus, and it is covered with calcium, which is like what your nails are made out of, your fingernails and your hair. And that encircles your pineal gland because of all the fluoride and chemicals that we have in our water and in our atmosphere and in our food, etc., etc. And that shuts us off from our extra senses. That's what Jesus Christ meant by woe unto you Sadducees and Pharisees, you guard the kingdom of heaven. You do not enter, and nor do you let anyone else enter. Why do you think the crown is on the top of their head? The crown chakra. Because once you've unlocked the third eye, the pineal gland, and that's working and functioning, your crown chakra is open and you're connected to the source, to God, to the creator, and you become God. You are God. You are one. That's where the Holy Spirit comes into it. You know, I've gone around and asked priests and Christians. You know, I come from a Christian background, but I've asked every Christian out there, what the hell does the Holy Trinity mean? Can you please explain to me what the Holy Trinity mean? If God is one, how can he be three? Yeah, and that's why other religions make a mockery of Christianity, because our theologians, yeah, our holy men don't understand the concept of it. They're preaching something, they're teaching something that they don't even understand. I even asked this at school and I wasn't even able to be answered. Okay, that's why Jesus said, you see me, you see the Father. I've come before and I'll come again. I'm the Alpha, I'm the Omega. Don't get it confused. Jesus wasn't God. Jesus obtained the level of God consciousness, and that was his destiny. That's why he chose to incarnate into this existence. It wasn't because we sinned. It was because of our ignorance, yes, but it wasn't because of our sins. That is a cop-out. And to drink his blood from a cup, that is a satanic ritual. I don't care how many Christians get offended with me. I'm a proud Christian and I love Jesus, and I'll cry every single time I see him nailed to the cross every Easter. So don't you dare come at me and tell me I'm a blasphemer. Go and understand your religion and go see how it's been force-fed to you incorrectly. They say that they love Jesus and Jesus from the Middle East. Now go look at the situation of the Middle East. Go look at the situation in the Middle East. Go look at the region where Jesus is from. What state that it's in. Go look at Syria. Go look at Palestine. Go look at Israel. Go look at Lebanon. Go look at the Holy Land. You tell me you care about Jesus, you practicing on your Sunday sermons, dropping to your knees and praying to God and saying, I love Jesus, but yet you're supporting the bombs that are carpet bombing his people? Where is the logic in that? Yeah, I know I've gone from being a TI to religious discussions, but you know, a lot of this stuff is eating at me at my chest. It's just there. It's just about to come out like a fucking nuclear explosion. I'm about to end up like one of the two witnesses with flames coming out of my mouth. TIs, use what gift you've been given. Your senses have been blown up. They are just so sensitive. Calm yourself, calm your mind, calm the monkey mind down. Get into Buddhism. Learn how to control your mind and your emotions. Once you're able to do that and you're able to control your minds, you're not so impulsive. These newfound or these new unlocked senses won't plague you. In fact, you will feel like Superman. Because that's exactly what a human being is at its full potential. We are phenomenal beings. Physically, spiritually, and psychologically, we are capable of so much more. We are living in ignorance. We are living in a stage of ignorance. People may call this this era that we're living in a technologically advanced era. Nah, we're still living in the dark ages up here. We're still very medieval. Forget about all this new facade, technological facade that's dressed our matrix. They're all just props. When the human being can do things without relying on external sources, that is when we are climbing to our potential. And remember not to do it with ego, because ego is like an anchor. It holds your potential down. Let go of that ego and it will unhook that anchor and you'll float to great heights. I'm being serious. I haven't just woken up today with some philosophical outlook on life. But yeah, anyways, bet you're wondering why I'm in a sling. Because the program smacked me with so many directed energy weapons, I had a seizure, stayed passed out on the side of the road for 2 hours, 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon, while there was so much foot traffic and no one, not a single human being stopped and asked if I was alright. But my dog, however, an animal, stayed right next to me and on top of me until I came with. And you ask me why I protect my dog with everything that I've got? That's why. I will wipe out 7.4 billion human beings on this earth to protect my dog. Get that straight, okay? Get that straight. "360s. My head be doing 360s, peeking through my third eye, yet they be thinking I be skitzing. Freemasons know the wiser, that's why my life they been fixing. Like a footy game rigged so the money fits in. My head be doing 360s, so independent I've been classed a problem. Stature, nah, demeanor, nah, it's my will and drive. A lethal concoction while I'm still alive, thieve the money and fuck off the hive. A lone wolf out in the wild, I will thrive and survive. My head be doing 360s. In a city where an itty bitty skinny nigger be facing a massive network of secret society members. Finger on the trigger, you better believe me, turning an old bolt action into a semi. No tricks, no hacks, just sleight of hand with a Zen master's flow and a swollen pineal gland. So I stand with all I got, taking my last shot. Through the glass, and the projection is slightly shifted. Tip off the barrel kindly lifted. A round glowing red in the night, a marksman freakishly gifted. Taking out a man in a vest with a small caliber round. How does that sound? Like a sick track being dropped fresh off the tongue, following through with a sweet melody, true words sung. So while my head's doing 360s, the system's glitching, my left eye's twitching. Call an exorcist, fuck ya, can't you see the devil's birthing, cursing? Teeth be gnashing, veins popping, blood dripping. I'm calling on the Lord's angels to come get me. Pull my soul free from this devil's bind. It wasn't mine, I was born blind, kept blind. Now this black goose seeps deep in my blood, going back to the days before the flood, angels be fighting the fallen. Now I'm calling, the Lord's angels still standing tall, and I got a little light left to join in on them and the fallen ballin'.
So anyway then, this is the drama. I'm not trying to sell you on this idea in the sense of converting you to it. I want you to play with it. I want you to think of its possibilities. I'm not trying to prove it. I'm just putting it forward as a possibility of life to think about. So then, this means that you're not victims of a scheme of things, of a mechanical world or of an autocratic God. The life you're living is what you have put yourself into. Only you don't admit it because you want to play the game that it's happened to you. In other words, I got mixed up in this world. My parents, I had a father who got hot pants over a girl, and she was my mother. And because he was just a horny old man, and as a result of that, I got born. And I blame him for it and say, well, that's your fault. You've got to look after me. And he says, I don't see why I should look after you. You're just a result. But let's suppose we admit that I really wanted to get born, and that I was the ugly gleam in my father's eye when he approached my mother. That was me. I was desire. And I deliberately got involved